We have, we will keep going. Okay, so welcome to the June meeting of City on Rising. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is John Doyle. I want to thank you all for coming out. I know our last meeting went on longer than 90 minutes, so as this is always an open discussion, we want to hear from everybody, but it's fine sometimes if the meeting goes on for more than 90 minutes, for the next meeting to go on under 60. And I know it is a little hot in here, so we will do our best to operate in the approved time period. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. Does anyone have a time frame of when the meeting is? 7:48. First, thanks everybody for coming. Second, we're going to go delve right into the community issues. There's a lot of things that are going on right now, and as I sat down to put this agenda together, admittedly about an hour ago, but as I sat down to put the agenda together, it occurred to me that a lot of things are in movement, but not of a considerable update. So you can always ask after I give the community items update if there's an item that you don't see addressed, and we can give you an update, but if you don't see it on here, more often than not, it's because you haven't seen movement on said item. So we'll take it from the top. The best thing that's going on right now is that next weekend, for the last time, next Saturday night, the bus will stop running for 4 hours. And then that'll never happen again, because the bus will be running 24/7 thereafter. So that's an 8-year push from all of us to, as neighbors, as citizens, even predating this group, to get that done. I know some of the people here, Violet, I've seen you at those meetings before. I've seen Beverly, I've seen Dan, so I know that's been a larger community effort than just our own organization. And we should all take great pride in that. And hopefully now, we'll give them a month before we start complaining again, and then we'll be asking for expanded service and more frequent service. So that's important. Second thing, truck idling. Almost coincidentally, after the last meeting, we had a long discussion about the potential of undergrounding some of the electrical wires within the park, and that there might be federal monies for this. And I was coincidentally reached out to by one of the manufacturing yards who wanted to let me know that they thought their company would be very good for this and that they were deeply rooted in the community. So I, rather than, you always extend the olive branch, so I told him, the gentleman representative of the company, that I would welcome a further conversation with him, because we have had a lot of concerns about the manufacturing area, the parking in the fire lane, the double parking on the street, the idling that's going on. And he agreed to have a further discussion. So I know there are a few people in this room. This is a big issue, not just a pollution issue, but a safety issue. Because this, and having lived across the street from one of these areas, when these areas are in high operation is the same time as the kids are going to school. Yeah. And that is a safety concern. That's a higher priority concern. That's why we put it towards the top of the agenda. But that meeting should be going on soon. I will be in touch with those of you who I know this is obviously a deep concern for. If you would like to be a part of this effort, or you have concerns about these yards, please email me. The 45th Precinct has been going by a lot. And then obviously, there are other obvious enforcement mechanisms through the Department of Environmental Protection that we will consider. Yes, sir.
Why do the trucks have to be in the streets rather than stay in the yard until they're ready to leave?
Stephen, I want you to be a part of this committee, and I think that you should ask that very first question, because I've asked that as well. So you were in good company. I agree. I'm not sure what their motivations are for doing that, but that is going to be a very good starting point for those discussions. So, as is on camera, I am hoping you'll be a part of the committee as well. Yes?
Can you just turn down a little bit?
Absolutely. If I can figure out how to do this.
Yep, absolutely.
Is that better for everyone? Hold on. Better.
It's very loud percentage.
I know, but we got the recording.
No, it
But
helps,
And I want to thank those of you present for enduring my loudness, particularly amplified by this sound system.
People complain they can't hear it.
Some of us.
Yeah.
No, I just, it was more
The bass or something, the
yeah,
tone.
it was a little bit.
The third thing that's on the agenda is the composting. So we have went out, David Diaz, who couldn't join us tonight, but I'm sure will be watching this at some point, and found a company that's willing to do weekly food scrap drop-off for us. So,
Do you have an idea of what that costs?
so thank you, Dan. That was largely on point. Also, as people could sign in if they could, that's very important. Just that way we keep track of everybody who's here and make sure that we're able to update you on things you may have brought up in the meeting. It's not uncommon for us to be reviewing the video and say, who brought this up? And obviously we're all here, even though we have the video working for now, we're not all taking notes, and we want to just make sure we're getting the word out. So with respect to the fee scale, for those who can afford it, it would be about $5 a week. So it's not a tremendous barrier for improvement. So about $20 a month, $200 a year. We're going to be setting up a GoFundMe account so people can pay directly there, but we've got to get that all together and make it user-friendly. And maybe, I'm thinking now, maybe GoFundMe isn't as user-friendly for a pay-as-you-go type thing, is it?
And isn't there a charge to use that?
Usually it's a few cents on the dollar.
But could we Deering just have direct,
Yeah.
could they give the money to Rising under the guise of composting?
Yeah.
Just
So
that, and then we could pay.
we'll figure it out internally the best way. I'm just thinking out loud right now, but it will be roughly $5 a week, and then it's probably going to be on Thursdays from 4 or 5 to 6 or 7. So there'll be someone out there. She'll collect it. You can drop off at that time, and she takes it. It's Diora St. Hilaire, who is the head of the Bronx Solid Waste Advisory Board. So this is a very, very knowledgeable person. Yes.
And then once we understand the process,
Yeah.
I have no problem with people dropping it off outside of those hours, as long as the shop's open. You know what I mean? As long as it's not a crazy process, I don't mind people putting bags
Thank
out
you.
of the shop. That's easy.
Appreciate that. So, yes.
We originally were given these brown compost bins.
Mm-hmm.
Now, will those still work?
So, I believe you can use those to drop off at this site, but they're not going to work in their original intention was you were able to put those outside of your home and it would work that way. It's not going to work that way. But if you want to use that as your compost, of course, you can use that. And ironically, citywide, some of the areas in our greater community were some of the pilot programs for the composting project. So it's sad we don't have one. But this at least provides an alternative for a period of time, and maybe we can even use it to demonstrate how much people need it. So within the next month, you're going to see that start to roll out, which is very good. The next is our Adopt the Block program. Stephen Dershowitz is here. He's one of our co-chairs for that. We went and we basically just went outside of the supermarket one night. We had a very good response from a larger community. Gave out about 100 flyers for the Adopt a Block program. If you go to our social media, you could just put Adopt a Block, or you can email us at City Island Rising that you'd like to be a part of the Adopt a Block program. What we are going to do is we are going to supply people with materials and whatnot so they can clean up their own block. But under a commitment, they do it on a regular basis. So if you're willing to do it, if you have the free time, if you know someone who might be willing to do it, we will supply them with the garbage bags and the rakes and everything else so that they can be a part of, a positive part of the community in that respect. So as of right now, we have about 10 people signed up. I also was out here during the street fair, which was a great time. I saw many of you in this room there. Got a lot of interested people in Rising, a lot of people who said they watched the videos, and then also a lot of people on the ferry petition. So that was very good. So I want to thank everybody who came by and kept me company. They put me in a nice shaded area, so I didn't get too sunburned, so that was good as well. And then finally, we have our community organization Active in Disaster, which we have to set up a new committee meeting for, but we are moving forward with that. And actually, and I apologize, I didn't get to tell you this, Beverly, but the CERT team for the area reached out and they want to present at one of our future meetings.
Excellent.
So, couldn't do it tonight, but they want to do it soon. And I was going to do a visioning map exercise, but I see that we don't have many Post-its up here, so I'm just going to transition to old business. And we had a speaker at our last meeting from the Waterfront Alliance and trying to do some programming. They applied for their grant, of which we are a supporter of, and we may be doing some sort of summer event type thing. So if you'd like to be a part of a summer event geared more towards the kids and the young adults, always feel free to reach out. We'd love to have you and do something positive for young folks on this island. There's not a lot for them to do during the summer, so we could do at least one thing to be positive. I would like to do that. That really concludes does anyone else have anything for old business? Something we discussed at a past meeting or a community item you have a concern with?
I saw it in the current, the newspaper current, they were talking about the fire.
Yes.
Anything new to report on that?
So they are supposed to start next year now. They were supposed to start this year. Not thrilled with that. The only other thing we have done on that is that there is state legislation that has been introduced. There'll probably be an announcement on this, but since you asked and I had a role in that, I'll just kind of say it to present company and who's ever watching online. A bill is going to be introduced in the state assembly to do a few things at Rodman's Neck. Again, a bill means it's not, everyone remembers the Schoolhouse Rock. It's not yet quite a law. It's just a bill. It's been introduced, so we're going to have to build support for it. But the bill, which is going to be introduced by Assemblymember Benedetto, is basically of a few fold. And it has been introduced, so we're just waiting for it to appear online. Once it's online, I will blast it out to our membership list. It is, one, required that the range has to be fully enclosed. In the past, they've said they were only going to do 66%. Then, before COVID, they were doing 100%. I think now they're down to the mid-80 range. We want all of the range enclosed. Two, and I believe that also applies to the bomb squad, but that's the only thing I'm not sure about. Two, we want to restrict the hours even further. So we're going to try to codify that they're only going to operate instead of 9 o'clock at night to 8 o'clock at night, and possibly look into restricting that even further as we go along. And we're also going to codify into state law that they can only operate the range one weekend a month. Because right now they do that out of a courtesy of niceness to the community, and it should just be part of the law. Frankly, it'd be up to me, they wouldn't operate at night. Three, and this is kind of what myself, Nancy Keck, Chris Carpentieri, some of the other folks who are involved in this, the Delaney family, we don't have an accurate perception as to what the environmental concerns are at the range. But presumably a place that fires off how many lead bullets a day and blows things up probably isn't doing wonders for the environment. So the bill would also require that they do a full environmental report that would be sent to the State Department of Health. And if it is found that they're not in compliance with our larger environmental purposes here, or standards, they would have to submit a remediation plan within a year of the first report. So that's kind of where we are right now with it. So again, that's 100% enclosed, both the shooting range and the bomb squad. 2, restricting the hours a little further. 3, an environmental report. And 4, probably likely a remediation plan. So that's where we are right now with the range. That bill has been introduced. It'll have to be reintroduced in the next year. And again, they're supposed to, I want to be very clear. The purpose of the bill is just to kind of put pressure on the city to do what they say they're going to do. And I did not time that they would be firing as this started along here. Is that if it's codified in state law, or they say movement on state law, it furthers pressures the city to do what they've said they will do. But again, I am concerned, always been concerned with, this is now passed along from Dinkins to Giuliani to Bloomberg to de Blasio to Adams. So we're on administration number 5 right now. It was supposed to start this year. This was the year it was supposed to start. Now it's next year. So we're close, we're not there. I don't think it's acceptable. I'm not here to make excuses for the range. Trust me, everyone who goes to the Rodman Monitoring Committee range meetings knows we're all quite outspoken when it comes up, but it is something we are continuing to progress on. And there's a seat right down here in the room. Mr. Blackman and then Beverly.
If someone who is a responsible party
Yeah.
will get in touch with me,
Okay.
not someone who wants to wait another 5 years, wants to solve the problem now, I will give them the benefit of all those years I studied linguistics at MIT.
Okay.
Help solve the problem. No one is close to any of the solutions that I've seen. People don't understand that they've never been close enough.
Okay. Okay. Beverly.
Before the bill's reintroduced, I'm wondering if there might not be an opportunity to add language in there, adding restrictions for sort of requiring that they consult with the local religious community, because I know that the synagogue had some challenges a couple of years ago where they were holding services on the high holy days and to the sound of gunfire, which was not a great situation, right? And incredibly disrespectful. So that would be another, obviously I leave it up to better legislation drafters than me, but some consideration for not, interfering with those types of solemn observances would be tremendous.
Good point. Thank you for that. And we will, once the draft language goes online, I will, of course, send it out to the entire group. And by that, I don't just mean the wonderful people sitting in this room who endure putting up with me, but the entire long email list that we have. So we will get that for you. And I'm actually looking up the legislation as we speak to see if I'm missing anything in here. So that way we're all on the same page here. Just bear with me a moment. Always pulling up a file, as they say, right? Okay. Oh, and this is actually also very important, and I apologize, and please don't think less of me, because it's actually a very important thing. I should have probably led with this. It would also legislate the decimal levels as well. So, again, as we fully enclose it, we're not supposed to hear it, but we're all going to legislate the decimal levels.
Decibel.
God forbid. God forbid. What?
Decibel,
Yeah.
not decimal.
Okay. Anyway, so that's where we are with that as well. So there might have been one or two other things, but when we put it in the email, you'll all see it. So I answered that question. Beverly, was your question on Rodman's Neck, or did you have another question? I'm sorry.
Nope, I was just about adding the.
Cool. Thank you. And then Millie, go ahead.
I'm not suggesting or thinking that this is going to be part of legislation. In reading the code, and we have discussed this before, that there are other police departments, other states, other law enforcement agencies that have been using Rodman's Neck.
Totally.
And to get them to pay their share,
So, amen. Let's start with the fact that you're 100% right. And funny, I actually have photos of the Norwalk Police Department of Connecticut bomb squad leaving that area once or twice that I frequently pull up in these monitoring committee meetings, and you're 100% right. The president of the precinct, the 45th Precinct Council, which is actually currently written into when they agreed to keep the range here, the mayor at the time wrote in that the 45th Precinct Council was actually this like place where the police would have to go and answer. We've been trying to bring that back a little bit. And the president, his name's Bob Beater, he may actually show up during this meeting. This is like his major bugaboo, is that people who benefit from training their officers at the range don't do anything to support the range, and don't do anything to support the people who are impacted. So I understand where you're coming from, and I'm going to write that down, and we will see what can be done there. I don't know if that can be written into the legislation, but that should always be a part of the discussion. So I agree with you there, and the important thing is not only is it the right idea, but it's a commonly held idea in these meetings. And when we do have the next meeting, I hope you all come, because it's always very helpful to have a lot of people who are directly affected in the room. I know Jeff's been to meetings before for the range. I think a few others have been in as well. So, please let us know, and we'll try to make that happen. Does anyone else have any questions, comments, concern? Oh, one other thing, because I forgot it. The speed cameras, they passed legislation in Albany. The speed camera is going to go 24/7, which is very good for City Island, because our traffic problems uniquely happen outside of the hours of 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Yes, yes.
So the speed camera is going to start going 24/7, and that's going to be good for everybody involved. So I just wanted everybody to know that. I don't have a date for it yet, but I will look it up and I will put it online.
But are speeders going to be fined or?
Yes, speeders get fined, and it's been shown through data to be a deterrent on speeding, because when people know they're getting fined, nobody wants to get those tickets. And full disclosure, I have gotten the tickets more than one occasion, but I will say I do try to drive, particularly in residential areas, not just ours, but throughout the city. I try to keep it at speed limit's 25, and I'm saying this on video, I don't want to get in trouble. I try not to go above 30. There we go. But it clips you at 35 plus. So that's why I'm saying that. So maybe I'm helping you beat a ticket. I hope that's not the case, but that's why I'm saying what I am saying. And we do have a lot of DOT requests in right now. I didn't have the opportunity today to get an update, but I'm hoping for our next meeting, which might be in July, might be in August, maybe we'll hold off to September. But sometime in the next 3 months, we'll have our full list. We are still waiting for DOT and the Parks Department to work out ownership of the roads. Our roads in the park are substandard condition because they're parks roads, not city roads. So as a result of that, that's why they flood. That's why the lights don't work, because they're not city, they're not uniform like the other city lights. That's why they're in such poor repair as they are. And when we were out there with the current DOT commissioner, he said, if these were city roads, they'd never be like this. So just so people know. But we've also been, just one quick second, we've also been raising the bar on that a little bit, or shining a light on that. There's Bronx Magazine, if you go to our social media, they interviewed David Diaz and myself about some of the flooding in the community. And we have documented over 1,000 photos of flooding in the community. So continue to send those in. I know some of you do. Beverly has sent some in. And I have a few other islanders who do send them in. So please continue to send those in. It helps us document those things. And we may have a further announcement on that before the next meeting. Go ahead.
Just on Park Drive, right after you get out of the circle, the bike path also across the street and go down past Turtle Cove. There's no crosswalk that's really well marked. I think we need to have the crosswalk more clearly marked. Yesterday there was a teacher crossing there with a whole
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
and it's not clearly marked.
There's a remnant of a crosswalk there.
Yeah.
People really know,
Yes.
but I don't even blame the drivers because there's nothing there to really indicate that there's a crosswalk.
Mhm.
So
You can't see the path from the
The
road.
park
Yeah.
really isn't fully bikeable without crossing the streets at some point,
Mhm.
so it should be set up in such a way that you can get through the entire park.
Is this an issue of marking or is this an issue of engineering? Marking, okay. So when we had the discussion, a few, 8 months back, 9 months back, this was one of the issues that was of high concern. People remember at one of the meetings we had a City Island resident, I'm not going to name who it was, but she had been hit by someone on a bike as she was walking, I believe, or she was walking, or she was riding and the others were working, and there was a collision because it's not properly marked out. So we did bring it to DOT's attention as of that time. I don't yet have an update on it. I will follow up. I did write it down, and I did write down, Nancy, it was your concern.
This is cars. Bikers
Oh.
and walkers.
Bikers, so you were talking about the crosswalk.
Crosswalk.
The crosswalk.
Okay. All right.
Where the bike path and the walking path cross.
Okay.
The path on both
Yeah, you can't
sides.
get there from here
Yeah.
without just going out of the road.
Yeah. No, I think there was a request for some sort of delineated
Yes.
lines or traffic mounting device or something, but I will follow up on it.
Painted.
Understood. Dan.
And as long as we're discussing that, like, when you're on the far side in the bike lane coming on to City Island, like, before City Island, there's that, like, U-shaped driveway, I think it's like one City Island or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, if you're coming onto City Island on the far, across the street from us, okay? You come over that hill in the bike lane, you come down the hill, and there's this weird barrier that says, please get off your bike.
Yeah.
And there's two things there.
Oh.
That shouldn't be there.
This is the Parks Department by their
Yeah.
facility.
And so the cars come
Yeah.
out of there, not into there. So it's
Yeah.
only cars leaving a parking lot.
Yes.
And you have hundreds of bikers coming down a hill,
Yes.
and then they first had it pseudo blocked, and then it magically moved one night, and it was great, and then they put a concrete barrier there, and it's just dangerous, to be honest, because anyone on a bike is going to be annoyed by it, and someone's not going to stop quick enough and flip over the thing, all for a car coming out of a parking lot. So I don't know, I try not to righteously fight bike stuff, but
No.
it's a bad thing.
I'm with you.
Do you know,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
is there a clear reason from whoever put that there why?
Apparently, the Parks Department said there were a lot. Again, this is not me being spokesperson for the Parks Department. Me just relaying what they told. So, funny enough, Dan, I have a friend who bike rides a lot, and it's not Michael over here. Who this is like his major thing.
Oh, good. I'm just glad I'm not the
And
only one.
he had a lot of concerns with it. We took it to the Parks Department. Their rationale, as I'm recalling here, and I have a big head, but I don't remember everything perfectly, so give me a little space here. From what I remember, they said it was that there had been a lot of near-miss accidents for their trucks coming. I'm not justifying it, I'm just saying what they said. They said there was enough near-miss trucks there that between trucks and the bikers that are coming, that it made sense to make the bicyclists get off their bikes and have to cross like that. I'm not justifying it, I kind of thought it was a little ridiculous. I asked them, well, how can we appeal this, or is there anyone who can listen to both sides of this? And I was told, no, basically case closed. So there was a reporter who was working on this in kind of more of a community conflict, and I will speak afterwards. I'm all about what you're saying.
Yeah, because I'll flip over it once or twice to make them move it. Like it's not.
I don't want you to be injured in the process of.
Thanks.
I agree with what the end goal is, but I don't want you to risk bodily harm. David.
Thanks.
Have we considered having the Commissioner of Department of Transportation as well as the Commissioner of Department of Parks
Mhm.
attend one of our meetings. And if we could have an agenda
Mhm.
of A, B, C, D of different items
Yeah.
that we feel as though are important for us to address to them,
Mhm.
that'd be something we should consider.
100%. We did have DOT at a meeting 2 years ago.
Yeah.
The then DOT commissioner came. He was great. We could try to have him back again. It's a new commissioner now. I think it's an interim commissioner, so I think I'm waiting for them to make the appointment. And I will actually ask the Pelham Bay Park administrator, who's been a guest before, to come back. Unfortunately, when it comes to a lot of the stuff with the roadways, like the markings and a lot of that stuff, she always, yeah. And this is why we try to involve the mayor's office. If you get a chance to read the Bronx Magazine article, it kind of gets into this. They play, what I find is, when there's something wrong and there's multiple agencies that have jurisdiction, it's kind of this one, then this one, it's kind of like a Three Stooges routine. So we are trying to work that out. The mayor's office is supposed to have another meeting. It's primarily dealing with the flooding, but Senator Biaggi had been involved in this in the past, and I will try to get both of them as guests in the fall months.
So, John, there's a question from online, but before that, I do think it would be a really good idea to get, when the new DOT commissioner is official, get them to come, because I also, sort of wearing another hat, I also sit on the board of the Gateway, and Gateway has been told basically none of the promises that were made by the prior commissioner, unless they were in writing, apply to the new commissioner. So Gateway is trying to work through that right now, but we may need to remind the new commissioner of some of the conversations we've had in the past and get new commitments, because it may be that any old commitments we got from Navarro Lopez are no longer valid.
That's awful. I've never heard that before, but that's terrible. Yes, we will.
Gateway's getting a little bit of a runaround
I'm sorry
from them. There's a question from online, which is requesting an update on pre-K.
So, good. I appreciate the pre-K question.
If we're ready to move to a new topic.
No problem, and thank you, because you kept me on topic, so I'm not going back and being a little bit of a scatterbrain. UPK, we had a meeting with the site. We'd like to have it on Carroll Street and the non-for-profit provider. They're just working out lease details right now. They're not entirely in sync, because there are things in a commercial lease that are not in a residential lease. It's been quite an education experience for me. But I will say to you that they're not entirely where they need to be, but they're not entirely apart either. And we are trying to work out this spot on the corner of Carroll, because we think it will be the best spot. So there have been meetings. There was a meeting just last Friday. Friday, and the sides talked. They're going back. They're speaking to their attorneys. Remember, with UPK as well, if we do use that site, there's going to need to be some DOB conversion, because that site is not set up as a child care facility. It's set up as a commercial facility. So, again, it is the #1 priority. There just isn't a good update till facts and figures are worked out a little bit more. But I'm on it every week. Anyone else?
Is September at all a possibility, or no?
September, I don't want to say that, but I'm hoping that the lease aspects of this can be closed out by hopefully the end of the month. Because we are literally, again, this isn't, I don't want to get into all the particulars, because it is a private transaction between two people, but it's not even entirely an issue of cost. It's just an issue of getting everybody on the same side and having people appreciate the risks that other people are going through to make this happen. And by that I just mean financial, people putting up money, not that a UPK site will be risky on the island, because we all have the chance to be taken out of context in the world of media here. Anyone else? Was that a spotting of a fly or a question?
But I do have a question.
Go ahead,
Can
Ken.
I just bring up a random question that
Yes.
has nothing to do with
Of course, you can always bring up a random question.
At the condos, some of us live in the condos, we've had a pretty significant problem with increases in our insurance rates for flood insurance and for all kinds of insurance. Is there anything we can do to advocate for
very good point. I hear that from a lot of my friends as they're looking at the houses here. It's not even the cost of the house that's the problem, it's the insurance that becomes the problem. What I would say is that sometimes you can go for a letter of map amendment, and given the unique, the cellmaker's kind of unique ownership properties where it's a bunch of co-owners, maybe if you got a letter of map amendment, if certain areas were out of a flood zone, it could bring the cost somewhat down. I'm open to have a discussion, and if you'd like, I can speak to FEMA, and we can speak to the Congressman's office. Maybe we can do something at that specific site for you guys, because there is how many 200 people live in the cellmaker?
We're in the boatyard.
Boatyard, I'm sorry.
It's 70 units.
70 units.
For example, I think our insurance for the community went up by $30,000 for flood insurance this year.
That's crazy. Okay, let's talk offline, but I'm definitely open to trying to at least get FEMA to go. But for a letter of map amendment, you have to, as a group, hire an insurance adjuster. They have to come out, make sure that not, maybe the area's been miscategorized by the firm maps, and that we can move from there. But I've helped other homeowners do it before, so I have no problem trying to help you guys. And that's, by the way, there are no random questions. This is the community, so if anyone has anything related to the community, you do not need to feel it's on topic. You do not need to feel that it's even a popular opinion. If you just have a question and it's whatever, that's fine. The only thing we cannot do as a nonprofit is let people sell things up here. That's the only thing we can't do, because then I get in trouble. And be political.
There you go.
And be political. So no one's told anybody who to vote for, and we will not do that. But we are going to tell you as an informed citizenry that you can get out to vote.
Yes.
And remember that the primary is June 26th. This is for governor, lieutenant governor, and state assembly. And then we will have another primary in the end of August. That will be congressional, and that will be state senate. I think it's August 28th. But we will, the June 28th is the one for this month. I don't remember the August date immediately offhand, but they've split it. So, again, City Island benefits primarily because this is a neighborhood where people not only care, but people vote. And it's an engaged citizenry. And we benefit from that. So please get out to vote. Bring your neighbors to get out to vote. Unfortunately, they are party primaries. New York is a closed primary state. What does that mean? Only Democrats can vote in Democratic primaries. Only Republicans can vote in Republican primaries. So you have to be registered with one of the parties to be able to vote in the primary, but there's always the general election. And again, not telling you who to vote for, just telling you to get out and vote. That's the most important thing. So those are the two. I can't let you sell anything, and I can't be too political in this role, in these meetings. You had something you wanted to bring up. So why don't you come to the front? So let's give this young man a hand. He has something he'd like to say about the environment. And we're all about the environment.
Take it away. Thank you. Yes. This feels like an AA meeting. All right. My name is Carlo Fine. I grew up at the boatyard. My mom's Lisa Corey. But I kind of started this summer. I'm a college student, and I thought, oh, it'd be a really good idea to, work in the solar industry. I'd be, doing good. I'd be a humanitarian, and I ended up just doing door to door, and it's pretty hilarious. It's a ridiculous job, but I've learned a lot about a lot of the kind of laws and programs that are going on with solar. So there are a lot of things going on right now. There are a lot of programs going on, and I know that I've actually come by City Island. We moved a couple of years ago, but I spent the first 20 years of my life here. And I've seen some houses with solar panels, and I'm really happy to see that. But there are also a lot of houses that definitely qualify that don't have it. Now, the big thing with solar is that most houses don't qualify. There's shading, there's you're in an apartment, flat roof, something like that. And maybe even like being in a condo, which apparently now there's a law where have to be able to put up, you have to have the right to put up solar panels, but regardless, the reason I'm up here essentially is just, greenhouse gases and greenhouse gas emissions have to be reduced by 50% by the year 2030, and that's not like I hope we get that deadline, we have to do that, otherwise we have irreversible climate change. So, residential greenhouse gas emissions can take up about almost 20% of all emissions that we do. So going solar and then maybe even getting like an electric car can offset about like almost over a third of greenhouse gas emissions, and that can really, really do our part. And I thought like on the local level is really where you can get things done. And I grew up here, and I'm hoping I can reach someone. And if anyone is interested in learning more about solar, if you don't know about solar, maybe if you do know about solar and you're not qualified, something like that, just if you have any questions at all, just you can reach out to me. And I don't know, I've just been like looking at houses all day for the last like month, just like, oh, this roof is good. So I know a little bit about it, and it can really help with doing our part and helping the environment. I mean, you can ride your bike and recycle and all, but like getting renewable energy for your home and an electric car, those are like the two biggest percentages that individual civilians put up. So if you really want to contribute and do your part and then help the fight against climate change, I really implore that you guys look into it. There are lots of programs out. The money isn't really an issue anymore, but the government is letting us put solar panels on roofs for free now. So if anybody's interested in all, reach out to me. Talk to me after. I don't know how this works.
Just give your name.
Yeah, I'm Carlo. Carlo Fine.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, I've got my
And
name.
since this isn't an AA meeting, you don't have to say you're not.
Oh, okay, I am now. Okay. Yeah, if anyone has any questions now, we can raise your hand.
What's the economic contact?
Oh, sure.
That one.
Oh, okay. What did you say?
I'm sorry, contact number?
Oh, yeah. It's all, I put it on the sheet, but I can give out my phone number and email afterwards.
Okay.
But you said.
What's the economic impact?
Okay, so the impact or just the, okay.
No, for the individual.
Okay, so the issue that a lot of people have with solar panels is that it's this big cost, right? It's $10,000, $20,000 to put down, and then you have to wait 10 years to get your money back, and then you have to wait another 10 years to see significant savings, right? And a lot of people don't trust that they're going to get their savings back. A lot of people don't trust that they're going to get any savings at all. A lot of people think that, we don't really know, maybe prices will go up, something like that. But what the government has now started to do is they pay solar companies loans and allow them to put panels on roofs for free and then get people immediate savings. So let's say your Con Ed bill is $120, then we put a solar panel on your roof.
120?
Yeah, per month.
What year was
How about
that?
1,000?
Exactly. No. So the qualification is 60. That's all you need to see if you can get qualified to do this. If you move above 60, you're qualified. But let's say it's 120, then they will put solar panels on your roof for free, and then your Con Ed bill goes from 120 to 30, and then the company will charge you $50 or something. So now your bill is say 60 instead of 120. And you immediately get savings instead of having to wait 30 years, whatever.
But aren't you indebted to the company for whatever period?
No, I mean, that's my door-to-door thing. I have no,
The short from like 6 months of talking to the solar companies is they give you this, they install the stuff, but they also are the bank and they give you a loan. And then you pay your same person, you pay less money than you're paying now with the 30-year contract.
20.
20 or
yeah, it depends on what company it is.
And then you pay a fixed rate for 20 years or 30 years, and part of that money goes towards paying off the rate of the thing.
So it's not free, it's a loan.
No, it's not free, but you're saving.
But your monthly, and again, I couldn't care less what you do. I'm just saying,
I understand.
from a third-party guy who's doing it, it's going to cost me less money per year. And the company that I'm going with, which whatever, we can talk offline, gives you the option of getting the money up front or rolling it in. So my friend just got $8,000 for nothing, so that they can put the things on his roof, which is his credit, but then he's got to now pay more money. What I'm doing is I'm rolling it all in, and I'm going to pay like $70 a year for 30 years. It's a no-brainer for me, and if you pay it off early, then you still get your, if you pay the thing early, then you actually pay nothing for your for your electric, other than the Con Ed hookup, because you're not allowed to be disconnected. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just put them on yourself. You still got to be part of the grid. And I guess holistically paying for the grid, I'm not totally opposed to, because
You got a bi-directional meter.
well, yeah, but also you can't not be connected. Like, I have no problem paying somebody paying a phantom $15 a month so the grid works, but that's a personal thing, not a.
Okay.
Anyway, that's my 2 cents, only from someone who's doing it, not.
Thank you.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Any further solar talk? You're
Sorry,
gonna stick
not
around, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just have you over here, and can you speak to him on this side? We're gonna roll on to
Okay.
the next.
Great. All right. Thanks, guys.
And Beverly was nice enough to hand me this, which had a nice note on it about the old primary stuff, which I'm now missing. But thank you guys for the discussion, and let's give Carlo a hand for coming here to see, because that's never easy. Beverly always has the correct information, and early voting is June 18th to 26th. And election day is June 28th. This is for the June primary, and for the August primary, early voting is August 13th to the 21st, and the August primary day is August 23rd. So we will put that on post on our website, and thank you,
And the
Beverly.
location for the early voting?
Early locations, there are 2 now. There's 2. You can go to either St. Francis de Chantal, and I believe you can also go to Villa Maria Academy. That's our new location. And then there's, I think for you, where you live, it's the Morris Park Community Association.
No, where I live, it's actually Metropolitan area.
I stand corrected. I stand corrected.
But, and then their regular voting site is gonna be the same as
Same
it always is.
PS 175.
Speaking of PS 175, the PTA of PS 175 is having yoga on. I was asked to make an announcement.
Yes.
Tuesday, the 21st, from 4:15 to 5:30 at the baseball field. Bring your own yoga mat, and you can register at cityislandpta.org. It's $10 for adults and $5 for children, and there's a note that all children attending must be supervised by an adult, so don't just
Sounds
send
good.
your kids without.
And Carla, just so you know, I already had people emailing me for your contact info, so we'll get that for you. 2 other quick announcements. One, there's going to be the City Island Pride event Sunday, the 19th. It's going to be at the schoolyard like it was last year. I encourage people to show up for that. And then also the Snug, which is the tavern right next to the diner. They are having a Pride night the night before. So if you go and celebrate Pride night, don't have too fun of a time that you can't come the next day and celebrate Pride Day with us. Does anyone else have any questions, comments, concerns that they didn't hear addressed here tonight that they want to have addressed? Maybe that guy did. That's how this goes. Bob is here. Bob Peters, the president of the 45th Precinct Council. Bob, do we have anything that we need the wider community to know about in terms of the precinct, or in terms, Bob also sits on Committee Board 10, where he's the Municipal Services Chair. I'm going to give him the mic, and let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much. First off, I want to thank you all for the support for the 45th Precinct Community Council breakfast. It was a huge success. You know, we were on hiatus for 2 years, as everybody was, but the community came out and really was just a wonderful event, and I thank you all for your support. Westchester Square is getting an elevator in the train station. It's going to be 2 to 3 years in building. There's going to be some disruption in services. They will be posting it as they go along. So they did a presentation before the Municipal Services Committee the other night. The upzoning, if any of you are getting involved in all of that mess up on Bruckner, is now going to the Borough President's office. I believe the 21st and 22nd of June, don't quote me on those dates, but you can call the Community Board office if you want to go to the public hearing. One day is in person, the next day is virtual. So if you're interested in those hearings, by all means, come out and show your support however you feel about it. As far as the elections are concerned, I'm a big believer, vote early and often. Thank you for that, John.
And also, Millie, Bob is actually, when we have the Rodman Zec monitoring committee meetings, Bob is the biggest advocate to try to get all those other police departments to pay their fair share. So Millie brought that up earlier, and I was thinking of you, even though I knew you were arriving. And also, Beverly Jones, who's here, was honored at the 45th Precinct Council breakfast for her contributions to the community. And one of only two we've done the breakfast for 10 years, but only one of really two honorees who specifically had an enormous contribution on the council itself. The first was the late Joe Boyko, who was our vice president, who did a lot for us and started in a lot with the breakfast. But Beverly is the one who got us our non-for-profit designation. So thank you, Beverly.
And for this.
And for this group. And for this group. And for a lot of other groups. Beverly does a lot of things. And also want to thank Millie because these cookies look delicious and she brought them for us. And that was a very nice neighborly thing to do. If people need face masks or COVID tests, we still have probably about 200 COVID tests. So I'm bringing one over to my family after this meeting. But if you need COVID tests, email us cityislandrising@gmail.com and just give us your name, your number, and your address, and we will drop it off to you. Any other, Stephen, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
We have to thank the person who allowed us to be here.
Yes, Egypt Blanco allowed us to be here. Thank you, Egypt. That was lovely. Thank you. And joined us for the meeting, which you didn't have to do. Thank you for having us. Does anyone else have any questions, comments, concerns? Okay. Thank you all so very much. We're not sure if we're going to have a July or August meeting. We'll probably do one. We won't do both, depending on what guests we have. And just want to thank you all for coming in. Do we have any other questions?
Nope.
Thank you all. Have a good night.